Hey, Launch Techers! I'm so happy that you joined me again today. Now, if you aren't familiar with me, my name is Tracy, and I am the owner of Launch Tech Made Easy. I help online business owners figure out those little tech pieces that are really keeping them from getting where they need to go online. So I want to help people get out there and do what they love to do and sell their products. And it just kills me when I see people stuck on basic technology. And so I primarily focus on teaching people how to set up landing pages and opt-in forms, email sequences, things like that. Although online launches sneak in occasionally as well. And more recently, sometimes living on the road has been a topic that's come up during my Facebook Lives. But today I want to talk to you about storytelling. Now, we all know storytelling is really, really important, especially when we're working online, right? So it's important because people relate to the stories that we tell. And there's something about being genuine and telling a story that captivates people. This became really, really apparent to me last week. I was lucky enough to be spending the week at Walt Disney World with my family and my sisters and their kids. It was a big group of people. And I was sitting out on the balcony of our resort, and I listened to people as they walked by say things like, man, who can afford to stay in a hotel like that? Like, they're so lucky. They must be rich. Or, I can't even believe that somebody would come to Disney and they would just like sit and relax on their balcony. I've spent so much time and so much money putting this trip together, like I would never just sit out on my balcony in the morning when I could be in the parks, stuff like that. And it was interesting to me because at first I kind of thought, well, they kind of don't understand what's going on here, because the reality is, absolutely, I guess we could consider ourselves lucky, and I'll address that in a second. But where I was sitting was a totally cool spot, but it was the balcony of a timeshare. It wasn't a hotel, and I mean, it is a hotel obviously, but it's a timeshare, and it's owned by Disney. So yeah, we have a great view with really great visibility, and it's a big location, and it's fabulous. But what I was so interested in was the story that these people had told themselves in their mind. And the story that they had told themselves was, what I was doing was something that was completely unattainable to them. That I was lucky, or that I was rich, or that I had something that they could never have. And I will be the first person to admit that I love my life. I do. I have a good life. But I've gotten to where I am because of really hard work. And it all goes back to a different story that I told myself when my kids were probably about 4 years old, so a long time ago. We were at Disney, and I was walking along that same sidewalk area, looking up at people sitting on their balconies, and I wondered, and my parents happened to be with me, and we were wondering, wow, how do they get those rooms? Those are really cool. I bet those are expensive. Similar story to what I was hearing last week. The difference was I decided I wanted to know how I could have one of those rooms, and more so, I was going to not only figure out how to do it, I was going to do it. I told myself that my story was going to be that I was going to be able to sit on the balcony of one of those rooms and enjoy Disney with my kids. So I figured out how to do it. Technically, I figured out it was a timeshare and what I had to do to be able to afford the timeshare. But here's the thing. I was the farthest person in the world from being able to afford a timeshare at that point. We were a single income family. I had 3 small kids under the age of 5. And my kids are 16 months apart. So, they were all like 4 and 5 years old at the same time. I was clipping coupons and relying heavily on all of the money that I could save just so that we could, enjoy a few fun extra things, because it was really important to my husband and I that I stay home with my kids. So when I decided that I was going to own a timeshare and be able to sit on a balcony with my kids at Disney World and enjoy a cup of coffee in the morning rather than rushing all over like crazy, I had to change my story from I am just a coupon clipping mom who's going to be home with my kids every day and scrimping to make ends meet. So I looked into different possibilities and ways that I could earn money, and I decided to join an MLM. Now, you can love on MLMs, multi-level marketing, you can hate on them, but I have to say it was great for me, and I worked really, really, really hard at my business because that became my story. I was an online business owner in an MLM that was going to become one of the fastest team leaders that the MLM had ever seen. And because that was a story I started telling myself, that was exactly what happened. So it took a couple of years. It didn't happen overnight, and it was a lot of hard work, but eventually I was able to buy that timeshare and to now be able to extend the goodness of what having that timeshare means to my family to other people, and to invite people to come on vacation with us and to share in that experience with us. And it was all about the story we tell, the story I told myself. And so I'm curious, what story are you telling yourself? As online business owners, we're constantly flooded with stories in our head. And you know, it's sort of a kind of funny situation. If we're working at home and we're working primarily with ourselves, we don't have like that water cooler area to talk to other people around every morning and discuss things. So we start like entertaining all of these crazy conversations in our heads that normally we wouldn't have time for because we'd be interacting with other people. I really think that that mentally plays with our thought process. Well, so the stories that you tell yourselves, I have to say, are probably very similar to stories that other people are telling themselves. Maybe the story you're telling yourself is you can't figure out this online business thing. You're not techie. You can't figure out how to set up an opt-in form or a landing page. Let me tell you that when I decided to go and have a business online, I was the least techie person you know. I didn't know how to set up an email service provider. I did not know I could not send out mass emails using my Gmail account. You know, who knew that? I didn't know that. I didn't know what a landing page even was, or how it was different than an opt-in form, or how to make them work together, or like what happened when people put their email address on the landing page, like then what was next? I knew none of that. And I'll be really honest, I cried. I'm the kind of person that when I'm frustrated, I cry. I cried a lot. My husband thought I was insane. And more than once, I slammed my laptop shut. I got it from my computer and I decided I'm going to have to go back to a real job because I am never going to figure this tech stuff out. The thing is, I am a pretty competitive person, and so I would get up from my computer and walk away and be furious and mad and think it was stupid and I wanted nothing to do with it. But then there was the part of me that was like, wait a minute. There are other people who are figuring this out. Why should I not be able to figure it out too? And I'd go back to my computer and maybe I'd figure out one more step before I got frustrated and slam the computer shut and get up and walk away again. The first time I set up a landing page and an opt-in form probably took me, weeks, a couple of weeks at least. I couldn't figure out how to change font colors. I couldn't figure out how to get it hooked up to my email. I didn't have any images that I wanted to use. It was a living nightmare. But in my head, I kept telling myself that I could do it. And I was not going to give in, and I was not going to change the story that I had made for myself, which was at this point that I was going to work from home and continue to raise my kids and have an online business. So I figured it out. Now, like I said, I don't know what stories you're telling yourself, but if the story you're telling yourself is that tech is not for you, if it's something you absolutely will never figure out, I have some help for you. It's not even going to cost you anything. One of my most popular lead magnets is called the Technology Roadmap. And so after I'm done with this video, I'll post a link to it so that you can see how all of the technology pieces fit together. And, you know, it's not the be all and end all. It's not going to get you there today. But my hope is that by looking at this roadmap and looking at the way the pieces lay out, if your story that you're telling yourself is that you can't understand tech, it will make it it will bring you one step closer to changing your story. You know, at Disney, it's sort of the land of the story, right? The princesses and the princes and the happy endings. And so it really, really struck me last week that love the Disney stories or hate the Disney stories, they have a very strong theme that runs through them. And it just really hit me hard into how that theme can also run through our business. So I know you have something totally awesome that you want to tell people about, that you're really, really good at, and you just want to offer that to the world. And I want to help you do that. So opt in for the freebie and get the technology roadmap and get the steps laid out. And then when you have a question, when you don't understand how to do something, send me an email. Post in the Facebook group. Let me know where you're stuck, and I will be right there to help you to change your story, to move into the next part of your business, to be able to get in there and offer the world what it is that you are fantastic at, so that you can help change somebody else's story. So, click the link, let me know if you have questions, and be sure to email me at tracy@LaunchTechMadeEasy.com if you have any questions, or comment in the Facebook group. That's super easy. Just put a little question in there or a little post, and I'll be sure to help you out and help you to change your story. Bye.